Okay, so I'm going to go on here, and when we do the number digits and the count, set it to 0, set this to 0, it ends up looking like this up at the top. I pulled out here from variables, initialize global, pulled it out and put num digits in it and made a math block to 0. Pulled out another one and clicked in its name and then changed it to count into 0. And then you can see I changed secret number to 0. Now, the next part tells us to pull out a wild test from the test drawer. And it says from math, get the drag equal comparison to the test in while and change the operator to less than. So it wants a while test, get global count to less than global number of digits. So when you come back over here, I pulled out a while. Well, I did pull out a while. If for while test do, pulled that out, put it down here. While test do, got the blue math block this and changed equal to less than. And global count and get global number digits. When you go here, get global count, get global number digits, and you just click on it and drag it out. Again, in the next part, it tells you to also set global count to, then I had a math block that had a plus, pulled out get global count +1, or you can just go here, duplicate, and stick it in there. So that catches us up to this point here. Drag a set in. There we go. So what this tells you is every time it counts, every time it gets your global count, if it's less than the number of digits that I said, it's going to keep going. This is how it's coming up with a random number. Okay. So, sorry, random numbers. Your next task is to create a random number for each digit of the secret number. In App Inventor, the math component has a random number generator. So we go into the math component and we get a random integer from 1 to 9,999, because if it's 4 digits, that's how much it's going to be. So by default, it generates random numbers between 1 and 100. You will want to generate a random number between 0 and 9 to test. So in math, select the random integer block and replace 1 and 0 to replace 1 with 0 and replace 100 with 9. The end of the enter number click, event handler, add a new block to set, testing label text to the random integer block, and then you can test your app at that point. So you'll see this will be added at the bottom, 0 to 9, you can see that, and it's added at the end of the enter number click. So at the very end, that's where we're going to set it. Testing label text to random integer. Okay, so we'll let you do that. Okay, I am going to go over here and grab your instructions. Okay. We were here and here and here. Okay, we did the using a clock to count down. After we get it tested and everything works pretty good, I went ahead and did this make your game more interesting by adding a clock. So I went back to Designer, added a new horizontal arrangement above Reset and Play Again button, which let me show you here. Okay, and you can see I added it, time remaining, and what else I'd call it. One is a time remaining label. I guess I just called it label 1. And then this up here is horizontal arrangement 2. Maybe it's right in between. There's a countdown label. There it is. It's going to show up and appear there right over the same thing. It's just in the same little thing. It's just to the right here. And then it says on here, time remaining, rename it countdown label, text to nothing, add a non-visible clock component. So I just went in and I put clock in here, and when it appeared, I clicked it and I drug it, and it drags it in down here where it's non-visible. And then in here, it appears here, clock, and it had us do a few things to it. It said, okay, that's all we did, just drug it in. And then in my Word document, you'll notice milliseconds. Anyway, they're going to have you set it to 20. So in the blocks view, then it has you click on clock component and select the when clock 1 timer event handler and create a new global variable named timer and set it to 20. Okay, so what it had me do in the blocks. There's the clock timer right here. So we set clock timer, set countdown label text to global timer. We wire it all up, basically. And you can see I made another variable here, and I did a initialize global, pulled it out here, and there's initialize global timer to 20. Now, when we wire it up, it's all these instructions. If the clock 1 timer, event handler set, countdown label, text to timer, add an if then else statement to the when clock 1 timer, event handler, etc. And it says if you need help, of course, take the help. Do exactly what it says, and then it's not so hard. It does it step by step. Need help with the else part? Yep. We're going to recall the logic timer equals timer minus 1. Test your app. So when you look over here, that's exactly what we do. We do set global timer to get global timer minus 1. Here's all the little ditties we did to it. Some of these we add later when we're cleaning it up, and you'll see that here in a minute. Check your code. Enable the timer only when the player begins play. So we had to do a timer enabled property and then go back and tell the play button event handler enable the clock. And we did that. That's what this is. Play button enabled true, clock timer enabled false. So then when they actually run it, then it'll click it into true. Okay. This allows the time to run out, and it does. Guess the secret number. Disable the clock when the player wins and test your app. Test your app winning and losing. Reset the clock to 20 when the player plays again. Test your app winning and losing. Describe why testing one feature at a time is important. Because if you screw something up, you got to keep going back and figuring it out, and don't add more until things work. Okay, finishing it up. Testing label to invisible in the designer property. Set testing label visible to false so that you don't have it like there all the time and seeing it. So if you really didn't want to see the secret number, you could also tell it to false. If the player chooses a 4-digit secret number, should they get more guesses or more time? What happens if the player enters a value of more than 4 digits? Okay, so you can test all that and then take snippets of all these great things, all the little questions and your answers. Okay, in the conclusion part, then, move that. In the conclusion part, you will see there is a couple of questions, and you answer those. Now, I'm going to move over here so that you can see my code. This code works. There's still a couple of things we could do better, but for the most part, everything's working good. what I want you to see over here is I still have my too high, too low, all this working on the guess button. So when you put your guess in, it will say too high or too low, and it'll still iterate through all that. So we've got guess button. All of this was pretty much the same as what we had in the 2-player game. But just go through and double check because there are a couple things that got added. Like ran out of guesses, you lose the game. I think that all got added. Lower, higher label text, please enter a number. I think most of that was there, but just double check. I'm going slow so that you make sure and get it all. You can stop it and you can go back and forth with yours. Okay? There's the whole thing. Okay, and then earlier today, we've been doing things like we added num digits count. We already had guesses left to 10, secret number. We've changed that to 0 because now it's randomly generating it. And initialize global player or player guess to 0. Okay, so it keeps clearing it. Now, here's the enter number click. Make sure you have all this right. And testing label text to get global secret number. Okay. If we want to later tell it we don't want to see it, then you have to tell it false over here on the other side. Okay. Here's the play button. When you hit play, clears. This is reset, basically. Guess button true. 10. It's going to show. Clock's going to show. Play button's not. Okay. Got it all set up there. And then, last but not least, here is our clock timer. Set countdown label text. Get global timer equals 0. Higher, lower label, you have to reset it so that as you guess it, it goes in there. And if you actually lose, if the clock runs out, it'll say you lose. Try again. Guess button enabled, false. Clock timer enabled, false. Play button enabled, true. If we didn't want to see the secret number, we could tell it right up at the top when the clock timer goes off here. Set testing label to false so that it won't show. But there's the global timer. Okay. Got some goodies for you. If you have this and you figure it out, I mean, it takes time, but turning it in either this week or next week, whichever works better for you, this is good. You'll get full points. If you have any questions, please send me an email in Canvas or, school email, either way. But I am here to help you, and I know it's getting a little harder. It's a lot more complicated, but you can do this, okay? Again, here's the designer view, so you can see that when we get all done. I made it kind of this lavender because you can see it a little better. And then over here, we see screen 1 and all these details. Let me move this so that you can see them, okay? Okay, have a great rest of your week. Bye.